Thank you, Program Director. And what time is it now? It's still morning. Still safe to say it's morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Special greetings to HOD in absentia, the Chief Director, District Operations, the District Director, Mrs Mahlambi, the Head Office District of Akona, and the Deputy Directors of Akona, the VVOB officials, the SNT, extended SNT, and our esteemed guests, colleagues, I greet you all. Colleagues, my name is Hlongwane, Deputy Director of Strategic Planning at Office. I'm standing in for Dr. Lakshman Chetty, who's our Director in the Strategic Management, Monitoring and Evaluation. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to try and keep to time, Program Director, though I inherited the presentation, but fortunately I was given a leeway to amend the presentation if I fail. So I'm going to try and skip some of the slides, particularly the ones speaking to risk, because strategy encompasses everything that has to do with the department, including risk. So we have elements of risk which are reflected in our strategy. But because we have Ms. Lukongolo, I was so excited to see Ms. Lukongolo in this session. And I'm also want to state, ladies and gentlemen, I have to congratulate Ms. Mahlambi on this one, the approach for planning, because it's a plan that excludes some of the critical elements of Umlazi. It's a plan that is basically headed for a disaster. Because there are elements that are critical that needs to be part of a plan. And then once you miss those, then you know what's a plan you have much chances of it not realizing the vision of the particular plan. Without wasting time, ladies and gentlemen, the purpose of this presentation is basically to highlight the strategic focus of the department and to provide the overview of plans that drive the strategy, and also to present the outcomes linked to our strategic focus, and also to introduce the risk-adjusted approach to the strategic planning. Remember, I said by having Ms. Lukongolo, so the last bullet is killed already, because Ms. Lukongolo has already explained what entails within the risk-adjusted approach. Because if you look at the whole strength plan of the department has 7 programs, and out of those 7 programs, you get these 3 elements within each program. You will get your set of outcomes in the strategy, then you get your indicators, then you get your targets, your measurable targets. That's the first part. The second part, you then have to explain the financial muscle you have in order to realize those outcomes. And then the last part, you have to identify the risk that might hinder you to realize the outcome. So if you look at even the presentations from the HOD, the presentation from Ms. Mahlambi, they've already presented the strategy. So basically what I will be doing, I will be presenting the value chain now, creating the whole complete picture in terms of where are you as district operations as far as the whole government strategy is concerned, so that you understand your role. Because your role as district is different from your role as chief director at head office and your role as director who's based at the head office. Those are policy developers and policy enforcers. You as a magistrate, you're sitting at a different level, implementation level. But that implementation cannot be successful if you do not understand this departmental strategy. So my role is to try and create that complete picture to say, this is the government strategy from the mandate, from the National Development Plan down to the district in terms of now what is our role as a district. So ladies and gentlemen, because of time there are slides that I'll have to skip. I'm going to try and see how I try and elaborate on some of the slides, because some I feel from this presentation, some of them are very repetitive. So I'll skip them. The outline of this presentation is basically include the following: departmental focus, as I've said, the plans and strategy, the NCSF, the national priorities, the provincial priorities, the departmental outcomes, and the risk adjusted approach is excluded. I'm not going to tell much. We all know the mandate of the department stems from the Constitution. 3 things to be highlighted: the rights to basic education, official language, and education that is not discriminatory. So 3 things that are highlighted on this slide. I'm not going to tell much on policy issues. For a strategy policy, it starts with the manifesto. By explaining this slide, there are many slides which I will have to skip. It starts with the manifesto of the department of the ruling party, and then from there, you then get the medium term, you then get the National Development Plan, which is the plan of the nation. And then from that National Development Plan, you will have a set of priorities within that National Development Plan. And then from that National Development Plan, then you get the implementation plan of the National Development Plan, which is the medium-term strategic framework. And then from that medium-term strategic framework, you then get the sector plan, which means from that MTSF plan, each sector will get their priorities. In this case, I think we are priority 3 is UDOE, if I'm not mistaken. If you look at there, we have priority 3, which is education, skills, and health. So each sector will have their own priority that we need to focus on. Then from those priorities on the MTSF at the national level, a sector gets given a priority, which means those ones are given to who? To DPE. Then with DPE, through consultation with all the PED, including some of our officials within this district who sit in these national platforms, in order to contribute to some of our areas that have been identified as priority. And then from there, we then get a cue as a province from there to say, these are the priorities as far as education sector is concerned. We then take those, what you call priorities. We get to the province, and then the province will get what we call the provincial growth and development strategy and the plan, which will take its cue from where? From those plans that I've mentioned, your MTSF plan. Then from there, we then go into our department, our DOE. We then take a cue from the provincial growth and development plan, which is basically reflect some of our MTSF priorities. With the addition of some of my areas that are unique to the province of KZN. And I want you to pay attention to this uniqueness to the province of KZN, because it's the same thing that will apply when it comes to district. Then from the department, we then go down to get now the department strategy, which will have to mirror some of these priorities, which will come from the provincial strategy as well as the national strategy. And then from there, you get your annual performance plan. And then from the annual performance plan, you get your operational plan. Then from your operational plan, you then get what? Your district plan. I know, but I'll get to details because there is this confusion between the operational plan and the district plan. The answer is simple. It's one and the same thing. It's just it operates at different levels. Head office, they will say it's an operational plan. because at level where it is being implemented at operational level. But once you get to district, it's still an operational plan, but now you are at the implementation level, you are actioning things. That is why it's called an action plan. But it's the same thing. Hence, if you look at the template that we provide, it's exactly the same template. So that is why we always try and try and make colleagues understand it. It's not complicated. You need to understand where you are and be able to look at the strategy and be able to implement the strategy by understanding it from where you are. Because you're not going to implement the strategy directly as it is. But you will get the direction from the head office in terms of the head office directors who will give you direction, but the direction they will not basically give you direction. They will consult with you to say, these are the priorities as far as MTSF and LTSM is concerned. Make an example. And then, LTSM will then take the strategic direction and implement it within the district. So in that way, the whole value chain of the strategy is being implemented. Now, before I go to the slide, I was very fascinated, colleagues, by a speech by HOD today. I even went and asked Ms. Hlongwane, did you prepare the speech for HOD? The reason why I was very fascinated, sometimes we write speeches so beautifully with humongous words, bombastic words that people cannot relate to. And today, we HOD delivered a speech that I could follow, that we could relate. And for me, I was very much impressed by the approach of HOD in delivering the book. In a way, HOD summed up the strategy and summed up the role, which then, builds difficult. Because what HOD said, you cannot come to this platform and begin to utter the same terminologies lawa as confusayo. Now, engizophuma namhamba still Mrs Mahlambi like I did last year. Ngizobuya futhi shifana because of the approach we used. Ladies and gentlemen, our strategic focus. Mhlamba style. What is the strategy there? What is the strategy? Because within the public sector, we get these terms, which becomes buzzwords, buzz terminologies that we use. And then we go out in presentation, use these terms, and then we all sound smart and as if they just tell you to understand these terms or sentences. A strategy should be. A strategy basically is derived from the Greek word strategos, which basically means it's the art of general, it's the art of war. So basically, we are in a war that we need to win in the strategy. So in war as a district official is a bit different from a war at the head office, but there's one thing which is a critical element of a strategy. A strategy must define what they need. But the best definition will tell you a strategy will comprise of a well-aligned set of activity. Kumbula with what HOD said in his speech. Common agenda. That's what HOD said. Common agenda. What is a common agenda? It's a well-aligned set of activities. If our activities are aligned from your district, are aligned at the head office, are aligned at the provincial level, are aligned at the national level, both who are OTP and as a sector, then the speech that was delivered by HOD will be achieved because we have a common agenda, a set, a well-aligned set of activities. So our focus, ladies and gentlemen, if we go to our strategy, so you focus here on when we are developing a plan, the strategic focus, you tick a box because those are given. You cannot have as a district a different strategy direction, which means you are deviating from what HOD said, the common agenda. So hence when developing your strategy, developing your plan, the strategic focus, which are these elements? Your vision, your mission, your impact, and your mantra. Those are given. I know sometimes when you look at it from a position of being an implementer, Obunye does not align directly, but you look at it from a bigger picture. To say, if it's Kuluma, get reading for me, we have our outcomes that speak to reading for me. But you'll find that some of my problems are corner. You may get some of my problems that are listed under those outcomes, which are not reflecting in some of your activities that you have. But look at the bigger outcome. It's about reading for meaning, which means one way or the other, there are going to be elements within your district which will contribute to the realization of that reading for meaning outcome. Because any mistake is to try and find yourself who's born and to know Minangila. If you're not owning the land transport within EAPP, then you feel it's the land transport unit is Sabaniki. Remember that we are operating from a space of the policy mandate. The policy is broad. Hence, government, we are narrow these things down to say, for the next 10 years, we're going to prioritize these things. From that broad policy. Hence, if you don't see land transport all of 5 years, doesn't mean land transport in department has stopped providing land transport. It's just that for the 5 years, whatever we do research, reading for meaning about health, and this is correct. When we research reading for meaning, then let's prioritize reading programs. Which does not mean local Unye has been sidelined. Get back. The reason why she's explaining the strategic focus in this way, colleagues, it's because I want colleagues to understand, you see, not every activity will be shown into the departmental strategy. But Uma does not mean they are not being implemented at all. Because it's operating to a space where our programs has to be delivered, the system has to run. But from that system, we'll able to bits and pieces to say, let's take this and prioritize, let's take this and prioritize, and let's take this and prioritize. So that's how the system basically operates. I've already explained these slides. That's why there are many slides which I will skip. Because these are the MTSF outcomes. I want you to look at them carefully. These are not our strategic outcomes. These are the MTSF outcomes. For who? For a sector engagement to DPE will have these outcomes. If we have these outcomes, I will not go through them because they are similar to our strategic outcome in our plans. That is why we show you to understand we have not deviated. We are still following the definition of the strategy set of aligned activities. In relationship, this one, I will skip this one because it talks about basically the relationship between our plans. Then I will go to this one. This is where I will try and elaborate. Even though some of the things I've mentioned, there's from the top, I'm not sure if it's from where you are, but from the top, we have a national development plan, you have a term strategic framework, you have a strategic plan, annual performance plan, operational plan. There is no action plan. So if someone sees the strategy and says, no, we have not been catered for. Remember what I said, the operational and action plan is the same thing. So you are under that operational plan. It goes fair, because you still continue the alignment. I'm sure some of our managers or my colleagues have engaged with Mr. Zwane, HR, on the last role that you see employees performance agreement. Mr. Zwane is strengthening the period because they've realized, as much as we are completing the cycle of alignment, the evolution of alignment. But we're still missing this critical component of aligning our managers' individual performance agreement to the strategy of UNIA. And Mrs. Mahlambi, they've engaged with my director, Dr. Chetty, including myself as well, on several occasions in strengthening it, and I think they're also presented to the executive members. This again, ladies and gentlemen, will then filter down to all the colleagues below the director to say, let us all drive to that, what HOD said, common agenda. I will keep on making reference to this because this is where we are, that common agenda. And then there are also elements with a common agenda. Elements, our TD, all of them, they've touched on them, your elements of budget process, and your elements of the review process. I was also excited to see with director touching on these issues. And again, Nami, let me congratulate the director and the district as a whole. The choice of commission colleagues. I was very much interested. The choice of those commission colleagues, they are driving the common agenda that was made reference to. That's those choice of commissions. I'll skip some of my slide colleagues because I don't think it will be relevant anyway. Now go to the slide. The strategy to operations. In terms of operations now. In terms of from the input to the impact, up to the impact. Basically, this is a log frame evaluation. This is basically a log frame. But now we're linking the log frame basically to us. Before I explain this, colleagues, if you look at this whole pyramid, this triangle, colleagues, this one is pitched at a national level. When you go to the provincial level, you take the very same triangle, you present it at the provincial level. When you move from the provincial level, you go to district. You still present the very same triangle within that space of operation. So you don't have to look at this triangle as a triangle that will start from the district to your national norm. Look at this triangle from the district to what are our inputs, what's the development plans, what are the activities, what are the outputs, what are the strategic outcomes. Remember, once you get to the strategic outcomes and impact, you tick the box because you are given. Some people get confused again now. If I say you tick a box. Remember, we have OVVOP, we have OGI and all other programs we have, OID. So, number plans are going to district. But by those other things, so at the journey, these other plans, we need to align between our outcomes of a department. We have our own outcomes with ID. We have our own outcomes with our programs of implemented voucher or any other organization that works with the department. It's simple. At the departmental level, we are talking about the grand strategy, the strategy of the department. At the implementation level, you are implementing your own strategy, which equally is to assist the department to realize their provincial strategy, which means you are never deviating from the provincial strategy. All you need to do is to make sure that those outcomes we have in ID, those outcomes we have in the program, anywhere they somehow find a way to contribute to the grand strategy of the department. Hence, you will find the report through our departmental strategy. You also report directly to DPE on these other strategies. But all of them, they have to assist one or the other to this common direction or common agenda union. That's one part. And then the second part, we are not operating as a separate department outside of the bigger picture. So the minute you have a plan any now as a district, that is not assisting the whole value chain. Let me take for an example, we have Statistics SA, which are the data custodians of South Africa. So whenever you require a reliable statistical information, even though by the time it's published it's 2 years old, but you go to State SA. If you go to our APP or our strategy in terms of the statistics, we use statistics SA demographics because those are the data custodians. How do they get those? Besides the census. They get those through the data that we generate. Because for the data to be created at the national level, they need to sort of follow a certain pattern. Hence, we are giving a mandate through these plans, so that we are also able to generate e-data that will again come and assist us, because it will tell us, we are not doing well now, we are not doing well now, we are doing well now, this is where we need our programs, or this is where we are doing well or not. So you need to understand this whole evolution as to why it is important to align to the developmental strategy. The planning framework I will skip. I think this one I've already explained. Then I will try and explain this one briefly, colleagues. The slide talks about service delivery and accountability link. I presented this slide in different management meetings. What does this slide mean? This slide, it tells us, it presents the service delivery and accountability loop, which we get a direction from emanating from above up to where the schools, and then from there we generate data recognition. We have to report back that monitoring and evaluation. So our reports are back managed to system. And who are the role players? I want you to look at the role players to this loop. With the policy development head office, the policy implementation, look at the policy implementation part on your right. We have district operations and districts. We have CLCs, then we have schools. So, I'm a role players in terms of our offices, and then you get your policy information managers. Those are your head office managers. What guides them? Our basic policy mandates. Technical indicator description, operational plan, and our standard operating procedure. That's the office will guide our district with. You go to district operations and district. To this whole value chain. So Solomon planner, you get CESs, you get coordinators of this service delivery group. CMCs, you get second managers. In policy team, the policy managers is the same. Basil, technical indicator description, we are going to show the carrying action plan while in office we are talking of operational plan. Which means if you are planning session and you are planning for the district, you have to take the cue from the operational plan as head office. Which means the assumption as we are going to be confirming the target for the APP, assumption from us as SMME is that the head office managers had set as contact with the district on the number of sets of the list of targets that will be given us. Which means the operational plan will assist the district in order to create their action plans. And then from there, you get service delivery quality, I'm a beneficiaries over. SGPs, SNT, Eglin Upele, Utisha, and the level. Once that has been done, using different mechanisms, remember I said that the operating procedure, the controls, now, sense of figure is CATI, Sir Auditor General. At yes, we have delivered, we have spent, we have this farmer business, we have delivered, what we say, all went well. Now, it's time for us to generate the information to report back and confirm and assess or control mechanism, which I believe would let you highlight in the presentation your controlled mechanism that you have as a district, which those controls should not be outside of the common agenda again. It could be the value chain up until the head office. Hence, learned loop then becomes crucial, especially when it comes to accountability, because it kills learned. If I go to, I'm just making an example, to Mr. Tech, a government, looking for evidence. With Mr. Tech, you said you supported a government board, can you give us the evidence for that? And then Mr. Tech said, no, go to district. You go to district, but get the evidence, but in a different form. You go to Umlazi, you get a different one. You go to Imagine, you get a different one. You go to another. So you get different set of POEs. Because if any are from the start of the loop, we would give a change needs to follow that. But when you get so much distinct, they must not get confused. They must understand that we are sitting from the implementation level, which means you don't take the strategy as easy, but we take the strategy through the managers at the head office. We're supposed to work with, and I've said, our assumption as SMME when we request those set of indicators and target is the head office managers have consulted with the district and are aware in terms of what is it that needs to be implemented. So what does that say? It says go to the head office managers or come to us as SMME and say we're looking for the operational plan of the department. We'll share it through Officer Ms. Command, not Dr. Top. There's the operational plan that should be easy. Because any confusion about the officer Ms. Command, no matter what time, they will never be able to check operation action plan by reporting now through our operational plan. No matter what time, go back to of all the 4 districts. But they play their oversight role to ensure that the operational plan, action plan, is implemented to the operational plan. Hence, you find the indicators that you will have as this operation will be different from the indicators that you will find in the action plan. Because theirs is to track the implementation of all programs within the action plan. Hence, if you look at the operational plan, they will tell you, your action plan programs as they are, but you get them, indicators are crafted in a manner that plays an oversight role to the implementation. So don't expect to when the operational plan will get to these operations, because can you imagine, because our operational plan is like this big value. So if you can get the operational plan for all the districts, but then you the Bible, then that's one part. Not these operations. And then I've highlighted on these priorities, colleagues. It's actually based on the outcomes. Now, outcomes, colleagues. This is the part of the colleagues that I said I will skip. We had, remember, HOD made reference to this risk-adjusted approach. For some reason, Umphathwami made something very interesting last year after Mr. Kongola joined us. He allowed engagement. No, Mr. Kongola was continuously engaged on the risk. I don't know why, but he allowed for that continuous engagement with us, with Mr. Kongola, to address certain issues. One of them, I was telling Mr. Kongola and JC, I'm happy to see you now have a muscle behind you, because we've been asked to respond to our audit log angle 2017 that are outstanding. From 2017, we're still responding to those. And some of them I know we have responded, but for some reason we are not closing them. So I was a bit excited to see what they are giving the party a risk in muscle, because that means some of our audit log, which are also affecting some of the things that HOD made reference to, e-budget. Because sometimes we are unable to get some offices approved in our treasure because we have been sent to it. I'm about to develop the challenges that you had in 2017 that you said you resolve. They are still existing. So then how can we then assist you financially? If you have not proven by resolving those findings, whether from internal control, internal audit, treasury, or from AG. So we are hoping, Mr. Hlongwane, I'm going to skip all of these slides which are coded in the risk, and jump onto the area that has gained traction. The reason I'm going to highlight this area, colleagues, I know it is generated from our district. In fact, we don't understand how important the districts are to the system. Sometimes I do get the feeling when I engage with colleagues that sometimes they don't understand how critical their role as district is to the system when it comes to implementation in data generation that comes back and assists the very same district. It is one area which has gained traction in the system is the gender issues. Gender mainstreaming has gained traction. It's in our list, ladies and gentlemen. The only part I will highlight when it comes to gender issues is that now we are being asked to have in our operational plan reflect on the problems that are directed at youth, women, people with disability, but in the case of KZN, we also have, I think it's military veterans. In the case of KZN. As women as a whole, not us as a set. So now we know we do not have women when it comes to the privileges, but we have girls, learners. But the reason why I'm saying that in most of the registers that you produce, in any of your programs, can you ensure that you try and include or make sure that ER reflects gender of the people you provide service to? Which means for every register that you create, can you ensure that you reflect on disability, you reflect only women, in these cases of our girl learners. And obviously, youth is given. But in most of our programs, even if our programs that we implement are not directed at learners, are directed at teachers. So for like teacher development, for an example, in register, they need to have these columns. So that when the office, Mr. Luketo Kumala Public Participation, request the information, because they are being requested to report. And the last meeting, unfortunately, I was not there. Or should I say fortunately? Our department was embarrassed, chaotic. Because there's a DOP, when it comes to issues of gender, we are not reporting. And I can tell you, colleagues, information is there. But the issue was that we did not plan for that. So if we did not plan for that, it's very sometimes difficult to report, because they will look for information in a certain manner. Hence, an engagement with the Office of Public Participation in terms of standardization and in terms of how is the office intend to mainstream the gender issues. Then we'll assist the department to be able to generate the data so as we report on. Hence, we're looking at gender-sensitive analysis and strategic planning, implementation of highlighted, gender-sensitive monitoring and evaluation. I'll skip Lao and then go to this one. The strategy to mainstream the women, youth, and people with disability. So what they did is, the Department of Women at the national level has given out a list, or should I say a list of indicators to all the department through Office like OTP. And they said, you have to monitor these indicators. And this is the list of indicators. You see, they're looking at the percentages of PPE transaction, which might not be applicable with districts but it's applicable to SCM. So I'm not sure how does SCM work with our district in order to respond to this. So you see, colleagues, from the planning, so if you have this set of indicators and you are aware that there are these sets of indicators, you then be able to pick up with notes in as in the state we are implementing 1, 2, and 3. So then as you prepare your plans, you stand ready to respond to certain list of indicators. So in that way, that means it will avoid the embarrassment that Mr. Komano has to go under OTV because of the lack of information. Still, sets of indicators, there is a whole lot, but not all of them are applicable to us as UDOE. Some of them are applicable to the other departments. Colleagues, what are we planning for? So basically, the plan must build on the classroom first and prioritize our work for the year that we believe will make a real difference to the life of the learners. And there are 4 priority areas. These are not, excuse me, these are not my priority areas as per the strategy, my priority areas in terms of what we're planning for. Because we are strategizing. Success for all learners, children, higher quality teaching, individual team, most of the director I mentioned on higher quality. Effective leadership. Commission 1, governance. We are covering their part. Strong governance and support. Commission 1 in your commissions, looking at these areas. So those are the areas in our paper. Then what needs to be done? So that you realize our priorities in La Union. All priorities must have implementation plan, action plan, and as a district. Monitoring and evaluation of these priorities must be regularly undertaken. I heard from Special Cabinet in monitoring and evaluation. Because we do conduct our own as SMME. When we conduct our own, we are conducting the better provincial level. But it becomes easier when we conduct the evaluation to a district and the district has their own monitoring evaluation. Same as in risk. Umemute usafuna to have a meeting with the district, not on this platform. You know why? Currently, I'm a risk now, APP and straight plan, Maris. Loma risk up a lot of hotel. They are not a true reflection of Maris. Because we're not told about risk. So can you really think put some risk up a little mood based on now before that I'm a right up. I've said to the hotel if I didn't go in, it was okay. The document is true, information I equal about what I'm risk. So do we really think with the risk are a true reflection of the risk that exists within us? No, they are not. So this is why I was so excited when Mr. Umlazi is a from district, so that as of the final risk are Kamugana, Wogama district, Mrs. Nigatina in a high level risk, as of a true reflection of the risk owner in respective district. And then the last part, achieving more with data, please. Some of my validation and verification is we do send a second to state with some of our sharing policies and time. Establish, we will see, are all controls in place, which means that the district are all monitoring the schools, implementing these controls in line with the strategy. One of the school action if I had, I engaged with the principal. And the principal, he said something very interesting. Also, principally, Hlongwane, we do have systems to indicate. How come I'm having such a triple D? And he took me through those systems, which was inside. I was shocked to see how much we are underutilizing these data management systems we have. And yet we turn around and say i-detector online nabasebenzi abasebenzi yet we are underutilizing this system. I went straight and sat with Udidwa Emis. And then Martin can understand, he said, the other modules that exist within Emis. Or short. There's a whole lot. There are information that you are able to access Smart District. And yet your information that you need to extract from Emis. Tell Emis we need to have 1, 2, and 3. Give Emis those indicators, Emis will check the system for you. Let me check the group of my IT. Let's be fiscal discipline. That's one way of doing it. Because put the information that you no longer require which one will land, but you follow through MS and MS will make the system for you and those of us will report efficiently. Won't come at data errors. I assume work. So there is benefits in the data errors. I assume because irresponsibilities on T. Let's go to the data quality check and the don't have training quality, but to populate this information in a manner that improves efficiency in terms of data quality. So it shocking how much we have utilized in this system. I'm not sure what is on the but as long as it present, I'm hoping with whoever also engage the relevant district through this cooperation to utilize the system at its best. Because what I'm going to the way the principal explained it to me. He wishes he can utilize these functionalities of the software system, but because it is not being driven. He needs to get it directed from the office of the district. Then I was utilize the system. So, issues of data, colleagues, the last part related to data. The reason I'm stressing this issue of data. We are in the fourth industrial revolution. Robotics. Today, robotics, and yet, if you go to my country, that's the fifth industrial revolution. I put them on the convergence of robotics and human intelligence. Hence, that's a fifth. Suffering catch up. So if what does that say about it? It says if we district in any quality of pilot robotics is prioritizing, because if you are not, yes, you are going to get left behind. Saying this is second to last slide. Because education is the most powerful weapon which we can use to change the world. Underline the word change. This is what the slide. Underline the word change. This slide is our it's popular. See where I know this is resign, car. See, I was talking about it, how popular Nokia was, how powerful Nokia was. But yeah, actually, we didn't do anything wrong. But somehow we lost. It's about you. The reason why we started these two, but underline the word change. One Nokia was comfortable, maintained the status quo, or which means not as district. If we continue to, we are getting percentage above 85% targeting. Snake for example, they need to 100%. By the time it's it will be too late. If fifth industrial revolution, it will be in full blow. It's obviously happening. Just selling it over the same moves, but we didn't do anything wrong. It's because we forgot one thing to change. Because the world is changing. Change is inevitable. It's either you hop in with the limited resources that we have, or you get left behind. So, and lastly, let us not forget, like I said, colleagues, for implementation, learning, you are an integral part of that success that kills the success of the strategy. There's a strategy ngaphandle kwama-district sesifeyilile. Angafika u-chief anijaha ama-district afuna wonke ama-report apresente ukuthi nasi strategy akusho konke kube kuhle. But if a strategy lana is not executed, because it can be received, but if it's not executed then the strategy is a failure. So for me, as I conclude, it's a plea to say, let's move away from the silo mentality. Let's move away from resisting change. Ushinjo in all aspects. Financially, having limited human resource, capacity, and many other issues. Now, asikho ukuthi sishintshe the system so that the strategic department can realize. With that, colleagues, ngicela ukuyithetha indawo and I thank you.